I'd like to officially launch the live stage now. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Pete Ray Biggin.
When I was younger, I used to spend more time worrying about, I've got a gig tonight. But now I think, just generally, it's cool. I don't really get nervous for the gigs just go on. And, it's adrenaline more than anything, which is great because every song feels slower than what it actually is when adrenaline kicks in. But some drummers have a routine before they go on. They do 30 minutes practice. It's all down to what you feel. It is important to do stretches. I do stretches, pull down the old school sort of techniques, and twister sticks. I think it's good to stretch your arms and do some power drills, do some singles, and just get warm before the gig. But generally, sometimes you don't have time. You just have to go straight into gigs and do them. But it just depends on you. My setup changes for who I play with. I mean, live, level. I've got my big kit out. Whatever's lying around on the stage or in the bags, I'll put up somewhere because it's what the gig wants. It's a heavy duty drumming gig. So in the studio, it depends on the music. So I might be using some old gear in the studio. I don't know. I just don't. Generally in the studio, I use tiny kits and I play really soft and quiet because it's what comes out on the record. My kit, what I use all the time is the Tama Star Classic Maple. I've got Bull Binger and I've got Maple, but I generally use my Maple quite a lot. I just love it. I've got loads of toms, but it all depends on the gig, But I'm using Tama. I'm using Sabian. I've been with Sabian since I was 11 or 12 years old. I've never used any other cymbal except Sabian. I love them. Recently, I've just moved from Remo and Vic Firth to Evans and Promark, and I'm just loving all the new Evans gear, man. There's some really great new heads they're chucking out, and I'm still experimenting with some, but I'm really sort of liking the G1, G2 coated at the moment, sort of more jazzier, open sound. Snare heads I'm using at the moment, I'm really liking the reverse dot. I've tried a few, but the reverse dot just seems to hold the test of time, really. I take it off after 10 gigs and it's still, there's no dint in it, and the tone's amazing, so yeah, that's one of my main. My Sabians, again, tend to change for the different gig, but with level I use 16, 17, 18 artisan crashes, also an Evo crash. I'm using the 20-inch medium artisan ride, 6, 7-inch splashes, I can't tell you which one, maybe AX. Artisan, I love them, they're amazing. my influence in drumming when I was very young was my dad. He was a funky rock and roll drummer from up north, so he taught me all the basics of drumming. And then we used to like have little sheds when I was about 8. So he was my hero, my dad. And then he obviously introduced me to bands like Level 42 and Average White Band, and that's when I realised I was a funk drummer. So, you know, them drummers sort of came along. You know, I loved Dennis Chambers and Weckl and that era of drumming in the 80s, 90s. You know, obviously look back on Lenny White and, you know, Billy and Tony Williams. So, just a various kind of roster of drummers from back in the day. When I was younger, yeah, my dad used to take me to the local drum stores, and everyone used to kind of, as soon as they saw me, used to go and hide away because I'd tear it apart. And I think it's good when you're that age to have a store that you just go to, and you can't beat walking into a drum store and trying a cymbal and putting it back, and you know, because you can't get that online. You know, you might find something cheaper online, but there's nothing better than actually having an in-store experience. And I had that as a kid, and I used to love going to the drum stores, but I always used to remember, like, in the Big Smoke there was a Wembley drum centre, so obviously when I first came to London, my first hit was Wembley Drum Store, and you know, I've been coming in here since. You know, if I need something on a day, I can always go there and get it.